If you've been asleep, you may not have noticed that progressives are rather evil. I think evil's probably an appropriate word. I mean, if it's not Sam Smith dressing up like a demon or as the devil, if it's not Lil Nas X being the devil or twerking on the devil, progressives, generally speaking, just aren't necessarily the nicest people either. I personally can't say I've met someone who's openly a progressive who is a nice person. Now, this is because they are the fascists of the 21st century, funnily enough. They are people who will very much oppress you. They will very much suppress your speech if it contradicts anything they believe in. And of course, this works to varying degrees. If, last week, for example, it was throwing poop outside of a building to discourage people from going in. It's probably the more appropriate word. Because they disagreed with what the people were speaking about. They will, I don't know. Ask Chanel Lau. He will very happily lead a violent mob against a few women who just want to speak. Because those women aren't saying things that he agrees with. This is what I mean, right? It's the sort of stuff that it's inherently evil. It's inherently anti-progressive, if you ask me. I feel like anytime you use the term progressive, it should be towards advancing something good. Progressives, I'm yet to see policy that really advances anything positive at all. To be honest, progressivism is probably better relabeled to regressivism. It's inherently regressive. It takes society back to an inherently divided way of living, to a place where there is a lot of internal conflicts that simply have been disappearing for the last few decades. Progressives are the reason why you've got black people in one classroom and white people in another classroom in UK and US universities. Or rather than classrooms, more specifically, dorm rooms or learning spaces. Hey, this is a learning space for black people only, thanks. And this is because you guys oppressed us for a very, very long time and we need this space by ourselves. And if you come in here, well then we're not going to be able to learn. We're not going to be able to succeed. You guys existing in the same space as us is inherently oppressive and it's going to mean that we cannot succeed. And that is you oppressing us. That makes you no better than slave owners. Basically the narrative. Plain and simple. That is the sort of nonsense that progressives promote. Different learning and sleeping spaces based on your ethnicity. And sure, not necessarily forcing people to, only go to places that align with their ethnicity. But the fact that they promote the existence of these spaces to begin with is barking mad. But of course, it's not just stuff around ethnicity and all of that nonsense that is an issue with progressives. No, progressives are inherently sinful people just across the board, I'd have to say. I mean, they promote promiscuity. They promote polyamory, and I suppose that's part of it, isn't it? But they promote polyamory. They promote single motherhood. They promote abortion. For the most, I'd say you'd be hard pressed to find more progressives that support capitalism than communism. They support things that, generally speaking, have failed throughout history. They support glorifying self-harm. They will sit there and tell you that slaughtering 1,200 civilians is freedom. That is freedom fighting. That is resistance. 1,200 civilians, many of whom, by the way, actually supported the freedom of those that were killing them. That's progressives for you in a nutshell. They don't really have much regard for facts either. They would actually go as far as to demonize everything that's good in the world. They will demonize the civilization in which they were raised. They will demonize the only things that enable them to have the freedom to love communism or hate capitalism. The fact that they have freedom. Freedom is inherently oppressive. It's freedom that enables people to say what they want on the internet. It's freedom that enables people to share differences of political opinion. But of course, to the same extent, it's freedom which enables people to oppose their ideology. It's freedom which enables people to make videos like this calling progressives the most radical beings on the face of the planet right now. Or should I say, the most radical large group, large movement. We are talking millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people around the world subscribing to progressive ideology. Far too many for my liking. However, I also don't agree with eugenics, although I think there's probably an argument that progressives do. But yes, they demonize Christianity on top of all of that. Christianity is at the core of the societies in which they live. It's at the core of why Western society is so good. Why Western societies are so diverse, are so, generally speaking, loving if you get past all the bullshit. They demonize it. The point I'm getting to here is there's a strong argument that progressives are demon worshippers. Not necessarily intentionally, like not going out of their way to have a seance in their basement every day or anything. But they support things which demons very much would, that Satan himself very much would. And if you're not a religious person, well, I'm sure you can appreciate there is right and wrong, there is good and evil. And so whereas I think most people would very much be pushing for goodness and truth in the world, they would be supporting what would be regarded as evil. I've got a video here, and it's quite disturbing, of someone, and I think the name makes it worse. This is their TikTok account name. The account name is Abortion Counselor. And this person is like someone who is so proud of every abortion they've ever gotten. They celebrate the death of their babies inside them. They celebrate the murdering of children. And this is what is to be celebrated by progressives. This is what progressives love. They love that someone can celebrate murdering their own child in their own womb. I mean, does it really? Does it not get any more devil worshipy than sacrificing your children to an ideology? It's certainly idolatry. It's certainly viewing yourself as better than anything else, and that gives you the right to destroy entire lives which you recklessly put there through your own actions because you couldn't keep your legs shut. And that goes for the male too, by the way. Now, I know this is a topic which people are very, very divided on. Some people think that it should be entirely in the ballpark of the woman. That's fine. You can respect my opinion. You can, and I'll respect your opinion. I'm not going to sit here and say that I won't associate with someone because they agree that they should have the right to an abortion. I'm not going to say that I won't associate myself with you. I'm not going to demonize you. But if you dance about it, if you celebrate it, well, then you've got a few bloody screws loose. And if I may, I'll just make my quick argument. I can make a religious argument for opposing abortion. I can also make just a general moral argument. The whole narrative is that it's women's bodies, right? So they should choose whether or not an abortion takes place. The problem is you consent to the risk of pregnancy when you have sexual intercourse. Now, of course, there are basically one instance where you don't consent. And that's a bit more complex. Nonetheless, it is still not your life that you are ending. You are still ending the life of another human being. A human being is dictated as human being because they have a human genetic code. And if you have a human genetic code and you are developing, you are a human, and the ending of that life is the ending of a human life. Many people will say it's not fair. And maybe to some degree, especially in cases where it wasn't your choice to get pregnant, or wasn't your choice to have intercourse. Sure, it's not fair. But life's filled with stuff that's not fair. And what's not fair is that the child growing inside you would be killed because you don't want it. Especially when in most cases abortions occur after someone has chosen to consent to the risk of pregnancy. So what gives you the moral right to do something and then not want to follow through with the consequence? What gives you the right to reject the consequence and live without that consequence? One may argue that the consequence of having to commit that act itself, of having to get rid of it, will stay with you. Sure, it most certainly will for several people. And then there's other people who dance about it on TikTok. This is the problem. I'm not opposed to these sorts of things when it's a medical emergency and it's either the mother's life or they both die. But if it's simply a case of the mother doesn't want the child, that is not good enough. There are responsibilities that someone has in their life, and much of that is rooted in their own decisions. And when you make the decision to have sex, you are consenting to the risk of pregnancy and the consequences associated with pregnancy. You cannot choose to just get rid of something because it's not convenient to you. You cannot choose to get rid of something because it's not the right time. You cannot choose to end another human's life because it wasn't the plan. It may be your body, but the body that you are killing is not yours. And that was an entire argument not related to religion one bit.